Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to go over some really fun stuff. We're going to go over a little bit about why I chose to move into a tiny house. We're going to go over my builders and why I chose them. We're going to go over my trailer, which is actually like not your standard tiny house trailer. We're going to go over my solar array, my parking spot and how I found it, and then also why I chose to put a concrete pad down for my tiny house. So let's get into it. A little bit of a backstory is last year in August 2023, I got separated from my husband and I ended up moving into a rental house. This was ultimately the deciding factor to finding a tiny house. I live in Canberra, which is the capital city of Australia, and the rent here is pretty expensive. I'm currently paying about $2,400 a month in rent. And to put it into perspective, I pay myself about $3,000 a month for my business. So while my videography business does really well, I actually didn't realize until I got separated and moved out that's not really enough to live on my own. So I've had to get a part-time job for now just to kind of help cover expenses in the rental house. Very quickly after moving into this rental house, I realized I wanted to try and go for a tiny house. And the only reason I know about tiny houses is my mom introduced me to the YouTube channel Living Big in a Tiny House with Bryce and Rasa. A couple of years ago, we were talking about her moving out here, getting her a parent visa and moving to Australia. And she's since met someone and settled down in Florida, but she showed me that YouTube channel. And from then on, the last couple of years, like every time a new video popped up, I'd watch it and I'd think it was really cool, but it just that was not going to work for me and my marriage for reasons I won't go into. So yeah, I basically have my mom to thank for introducing me into the tiny house life. And I'm really excited she did because it's something I'm actually looking really forward to. So that's pretty much kind of the background that I'll give into it. Nobody needs my full life story, but that's how I got into this tiny house expedition, journey, whatever. So when looking for a tiny house builder, I knew I couldn't build it myself. A, I didn't have the time, and B, I didn't have the skills. And I wanted it to be nice, sturdy, reliable, and like done properly. So I definitely looked into some builders. There were some in Sydney that I really liked, but ultimately I decided to go with LJM Tiny Homes. It's really hard to describe, but as I was speaking with these different builders, I really wanted to get a sense of, I don't know, like someone who understood kind of why I wanted to do this and why it was so important to me. And I'm not saying that, you know, the people I spoke with didn't feel that way. It was just that when I spoke with Joe from LJM Tiny Homes, he's so good with words. Like he also has that super sexy New Zealand accent. And he was just very understanding. He really explained the process to me very well. He asked me a lot of questions about my life and how I currently live. And that really made me feel like he cared. And I'm so excited that I decided to go with them because I have not regretted it since. I have made multiple changes to the layout, multiple changes to the design choices. When I first started, I was looking at like a 9-meter by 2.5-meter tiny house. And I quickly realized I didn't like the layout and I wanted it to be wider. So I asked them to make it wider and they said yes. I don't know how begrudgingly that was, but they have been amazing. I have not gotten one inkling that I have been annoying to them during this process. So that's been helpful. So yeah, LJM Tiny Homes, they are incredible. We went out to visit them recently and I'll talk about that in another video, but that's my builder and that's how I found them. Now, okay, a little bit more backstory. I'm actually a trained chef. I went to culinary school in the United States, so I love cooking. Turns out I just hated cooking for other people in restaurants, so I don't do that anymore. That's why I do the videography. But I still love cooking for myself. I still love cooking for family and dinner parties and all that. So the reason I wanted to go to the wider 3-meter build was to be able to have a bigger kitchen and an island. I was never going to have a small kitchen. It didn't matter where I was going to move after this rental house. I knew I wanted a big kitchen, lots of storage, beautiful quartz countertops, and plenty of space for entertaining. So when I was talking with Joe, he said, look, we're not going to be able to do this on a standard trailer. He had gone to the Adelaide Tiny House Expo recently, and he said, look, I was speaking to someone who is building air brake trailers for tiny homes that are going to weigh more. I really think we should look into this. And so we did. We looked into it. It was quite a bit cost difference, but at the end of the day, we decided to go with it because I also wanted to put my solar on my roof, and we'll talk about solar next. So yeah, the kitchen was a huge part of my tiny house and why I decided to go with that bigger air brake trailer. I think the standard tiny house trailer is rated to 6 tons. I'm not sure. It's supposed to be 4.5. Like legally on the road in Australia, 4.5 tons is the max. That might be the rule. Please don't judge me on this. I don't know the law. But essentially my air brake trailer is rated to 10 tons. So it was going to more than cover what I wanted for my kitchen, what I wanted for the solar on the roof, and the size that I was going for, which is 10 meters by 3 meters by 4.5 meters high. So yeah. Now, as far as my solar goes, I'm actually going to refer to an email that has all the details so that I can give you guys the nitty gritty. I decided to go, well, I didn't decide. Joe referred me to Off Grid Now, which is a solar company in Queensland, and they do like kind of specialize in tiny house solar. So if you're in Queensland or have builders in Queensland, definitely get in touch with Mark from Off Grid Solar. He has been amazing. He answers every time I call him or text him. He will answer as many questions as you want, and he's just a lovely guy to talk to. So I can see why Joe has referred him. And also because they're both in Queensland, it meant that Off Grid Now was going to be able to mount the solar panels on top of my roof, and they were already going to install the box that's going to hold my batteries and my inverter. And basically when I get the tiny house, it's pretty much going to be a plug and play, ready to go system. So that was a huge selling point to going with them. Now I've gone with the Eco Warrior package that they offer. I don't know if these are current prices or anything like that. So I'm just telling you what I spent. They may have different pricing now. It comes with a 6 kilowatt inverter, a 10.2 kilowatt hour battery, that can also be expanded to 15 kilowatts, I believe. It comes with 8 475 watt solar panels that are going to go on the roof, and the installation is included in the price. Now, I also got a generator because I'm in Canberra. We have winter, I swear, 5 months out of the year, and a lot of it can be rainy and cloudy. So I did get a generator. I don't know much about it. It's an auto start 26 liter fuel tank generator, max watt, whatever that means. So all in total for this solar package plus the generator was $23,098. Yeah, yeah. Being off grid is so expensive, but because of the parking spot, I had to. And honestly, I'm looking forward to it. Quite frankly, I don't want to have any power bills or electricity bills, so I'm actually looking forward to having the solar. Right, so we've spoken about me, we've spoken about LJM Tiny Homes, my air brake trailer, solar, my parking spot. So my parking spot I actually found through Airbnb. I think I was reading a blog online about how to find a parking spot for a tiny home, and I came across one that said, look on your local Airbnb website, kind of range your search into the areas that you're looking for. There weren't many to begin with, but I think I messaged the 3 that were there, and 2 of them pretty much came back as an immediate, like, no, I'm sorry, we can't do that. And I was like, that's cool, fair enough. I mean, I figure it can't hurt to ask, right? But one lady came back to me and she said, yes, we should definitely talk. I already have a tiny house on site and I have another one coming later this year. So that in itself was just amazingly lucky. That's how I found her. She's going to rent me a little block of land for $150 a week. And it's actually only 15 minutes from my daughter's school. And that was the most important factor in why I wanted to look where I'm looking, was so that my daughter can stay in her school. That was really important to me, you know, with the separation and her moving out, and now she has 2 houses and she's shifting between me and her dad. The one thing I didn't want to do was uproot her life any more than I had to. So that was super important, and I'm glad I found something out there. So yeah, the parking spot is in full sun. I chose that specifically for the solar panels. So yeah, the house is facing due north. So those solar panels are going to get as much as they can, and there's like no trees around for shade. So I'm really hoping I can afford a pergola like soon, because I think it's going to be warm come summertime. So yeah. Right, next is the concrete pad. For the concrete pad, obviously it wasn't my idea. When I was speaking with Joe, he said, look, you've got this heavy, heavy house. You're parking in a paddock. I highly, highly recommend that you get a concrete pad. And he gave me all the reasons why, and every single one of them made sense and scared me a little bit. So I definitely just followed his advice. It was also that in their contract they sent me, they do offer a 2-year warranty on certain parts of the tiny house, but only if it is parked on a concrete pad. So that was just another reason to do that. So I looked around Canberra trying to find someone who would do it, because I think it's a pretty small job for concreters in the area. But I did find Canberra-Crete, who came out and they did it for me. It's 11 meters by 3.5 meters. I just wanted that little bit of wiggle room, and so that I could shift the house if we needed to like move a little off center for it to be facing as due north as we could. So the guys from Canberra-Crete came out, they framed it up one day, and they came back the next day and filled it all in with the concrete. And they were so nice to send me like a little time lapse of the concrete being poured, and that was really nice of them. So if you need a concrete pad in Canberra-Crete, they were amazing.
Oh, Gwenny, look at you. You're standing where our house is going to be. How is it?
Good. You should come on here.
I know, I'm on it. It's so cool.
It's a little bit raised off the ground. I was thinking it was going to be leveled, but it didn't occur to me until after it was all done, because I was at work. I didn't see them do anything. So when I got there, I was like, oh shit, this is like raised off the ground. When the tiny house gets delivered, the truck's going to have to be able to drive up onto it and then drive off of it. And there's these massive lips at both ends. I'm like, how is that going to happen? So had to sort something out. I was going to pay for crusher dust or something, but one of the gentlemen that actually lives on the property, because turns out there's several people that live on this property, had I don't know what it is. It's the truck with the big digger at the end. But basically, he just piled up some dirt at the end for me and kind of created a little ramp so the delivery guy can go up and off. So that's pretty much sorted for now. There's a massive gap at the front, but we'll sort that out later. When it was dry, I think like the following weekend, I took Gwen out there and we brought some chalk and we drew like the outline of the tiny house on there. And I got to see like where the kitchen would be and how big my couch would be and the shower. And I kind of mapped it all out. And my friend came and helped me finish the outline because Gwen was tired of being on her knees on concrete. So she ended up watching her tablet or something. But I got the drone up. I flew the drone. That was really fun, getting to like see the layout. I could start to like picture myself being there, which was really fun. So that pretty much wraps up what I wanted to discuss in this video. I hope it was useful or helpful. If you guys have any questions, comments, I'm trying to get this channel going, and so any kind of comments below would be super helpful. I can't wait to keep sharing more with you, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Hey! Welcome back to the tiny house that's taking over my life. I think I found a solution for my island. and I have a bit of an Amazon problem, not gonna lie.